Commencing program, Coriander Society Adventures. Game administrator, tormented by gnomes. Active users, Ninja Man Matt. Pods of War. Begin.
Welcome everybody to Coriander Society Adventures. It's exciting to be back here on the planet Lacunas in a distant galaxy. TBG here, your game master as always. Ninja Man Matt as John Carmichael. Pods of War as Asena. Matt, how's your day going?
Good. I'm enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to a doctor visit later. But, I have this until then, which will be awesome.
Exactly. For at least like 90 minutes, you're not going to have to think about that. Pods, how are things?
I'm doing good. There's nothing in my brain.
No thoughts, head empty.
Head empty.
Head empty. But I'm here.
I can only aspire. To such things.
It doesn't happen often.
I'm gonna live on screen because if I do this in the other mode, it's not gonna work well. I'm just gonna edit the overlay like right now.
Oh, captions.
In a non-professional manner. All right, that's done. So
I'm gonna pull a beat down. How are you today, gnomes?
Yeah.
I am good. Today is a really good week. That doesn't happen very often. Most of the time, today is a really bad month. You know what I mean? But no, it's a great week. I am super excited to be revisiting this world and my friends and hanging out with you every single week. In the most elaborate excuse ever concocted to just hang out with people.
Yes.
You want to do a whole ass show just so that we can like play games together?
I'm here for it.
But no, I'm doing well. House is coming together nicely. So this is going to be a half-length episode, 90 minutes to 2 hours. And we do not have Beatdown today because he's getting paid. So we'll probably host him afterwards if he's still doing his thing, which we are always in favor of people getting paid. But when we last left our heroes, they were on the planet Lacunas, in a distant world from Northport, where they originate. They are trying to find the Vignar, shadowy assassins who have special technology that can help save Florence Giotto's life back in their some of their home world of Northport. After arriving, they were escorted by an AI, ambushed by digital rebels, joined them, attacked by a devil and his draconic minions, somewhat rescued. They were doing kind of okay, actually. Semi-rescued by psionic mecha-knights. And they've now arrived in the Voski capital, a city in the middle of 3 mountain peaks, sort of built out amongst them, that descends all the way down to the roots of the mountains and all the way up to just below the peaks themselves. It's an elaborate, high-tech area with ornate, beautiful Baroque architecture, traffic lanes of flying cars, and lots of defenses. Our heroes stand before, after getting out of the dropship, which came to pick them up. It picked them up. It picked up the mechas who came to their aid. It picked up Lynn and her group of rebels, transported them all to the Voski capital. Our heroes have been not marched out, but they've walked out of the dropship, and Prince Kazimiir Voski has arrived to greet them. He's a man with a neat hairline, goatee, well-trimmed facial hair, calculating eyes, military coat covered with medals and epaulets and all sorts of things, the signs of his station, and his honor guard of psionic Voski knights all escorting him. They were walking forward, and he was in the process of greeting John Carmichael, who he knows, when John turned away his face, used an illusion spell to look exactly like Prince Kazimiir, and turned back for no apparent reason other than the lulz. Did I miss anything?
I don't believe so, but I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple questions, at least one. When we were in the last great grand battle, I got very sidetracked by giant mechs that I could ride. We had to wait for like a half an hour before the mechs showed up, or not before the mech, before the giant ship showed up, and then they were loading up the ship. Is there a portion of that time that wasn't just riding mechs that John could have harvested some of the dragon parts from the little ambushers, the big old rhinos?
Oh, we're doing this now, are we?
Well, no. I used to do a lot of this, but we haven't been bothering because we've mostly just been beating up on mobsters. And I don't really want to collect finger of mobster and eye of, hoodlum.
I'm mostly joking because my character does this all the time in your campaign. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
So if you're cool with it, we don't have to roll for it now. If you want to take care of it off screen, we can do that. But if I could just, get a little something, that would be Gucci.
All right, let me add this to my task list and we'll handle it offside. That work for you?
Yes, that totally works for me.
All right, excellent. I don't think you're going to need it at this exact moment, but
I mean,
that is totally fine.
No, I'm not sure. We'll have to see. I'm just gonna put dragon carcasses on my stuff until you can explain what we end up getting out of that.
For sure. All right, so John spent some time harvesting dragon blood, dragon scales, other various components from the not quite true dragons that attacked you, and then the dropship arrived to pick everyone up. Asena, did you have anything you wanted to add that you weren't able to do last time?
No.
All right. Let us set the scene. You are in the city of the Voski, and you have been brought before Prince Kazimiir, who's come out to greet you. All right, and I didn't update this screen, so it's going to take me a moment to patch pods back in.
Wow.
But you do have a battle map.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Oh, Chester, you look so good.
Yes, we did in fact patch Chester in.
Just run. Super cool. Okay. Whoa. Are we still on the dock, or it looks like we've moved?
I don't have a good dock battle mat.
Yes.
So I'm essentially using this for the time being.
No, that's cool. That's cool. This guy looks like he's ready to take our coat.
Well, I'm going to be fixing the overlays, which is going to take me a moment. But just to give you a bit of a lay of the land, these are the Voski knights in their armor.
Ooh,
this
nice.
is a nearby technician. And this is Prince Kazimiir Voski himself. Now, really, I should reverse the scene so that you're walking out of the dropship and he's like down here to visit you. So I'll do that. But for the time being, yeah. So what would you like to do? John, you just transformed into him.
He's a clone. See, yes. John transforms into the exact likeness, clothes and all, a disguised self to look just like Prince Kazimiir Voski. And he turns, and I thought we were a bit closer, but if that's changed, let me know. But as close as we are when he calls out to John and either extends a hand or waves, John turns around and to the best of his ability mimics his exact motion and gives him a, what for? Good to see. I haven't seen myself in so long. It looks so nice to be again among such good company. How are you doing?
Roll performance check, please.
Okay, John does that thing that you asked. And he's trying to do, like, he's not trying to really pass this off as anything other than just a farce.
Oh, yeah.
Not trying to humiliate him, mostly just being just a silly dickhead.
Yeah, he's memeing. All right, you got a 12, so it's passably entertaining. Pods, is Asena doing anything at this moment as I live edit you into the scene?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Almost done here. Trim this up. So chat, the reason that I'm doing this live instead of in studio mode so you wouldn't see it is because there's a weird thing with the Act of God system where it doesn't show up quite right if I'm in studio mode, which means that if I've played all my cards right and done everything ahead of time like an intelligent person, then everything's fine and everything works great. And if I don't do those things, then, we're here.
I'm going to move Chester right up to here, like kind of sharing a square with, the alt didn't work. There we go. Sharing a square with Asena, because unless she dumps him, he's always just kind of riding around either in her arms or on her shoulder or just kind of catching an Asena ride.
All right. The prince, and I'm going to pull up his picture so that you can see what he looks like here, Pods. The prince smiles at this display, just sort of a light, half-hearted chuckle. Your wit is, as always, delightful.
Right? I knew you'd understand. And John just snaps his fingers in the disguise. Just.
Mm-hmm. And this is what he looks
pretty
like.
Boy. Like a rugged pretty boy. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, just replace this suit with a fancy military coat, and that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
All right. You must be tired from your journey. Please come with me. We'll tend to all of your needs and give you a proper Voski welcome. And you must introduce me to your friends.
Yes, absolutely. But as you said, let's do it away from the pier.
All right. He'll go ahead and with his armed escort, they'll take you into a room that's a lot more like this throne room that we've got set up.
Okay.
And they'll set out a table for you and they will bring you some fine food. It is not the nutrient goo that you were served amongst the Exarchate. It's definitely much more luxurious, though. John, roll a science check.
Science check.
Asena, there's vegetables, there's meats. It's not all familiar to you. There's a couple of like baked goods, pastries and such.
Are we supposed to eat things when we're in different worlds?
That's a valid question. That is 100% a valid question.
18 for science.
All right. Almost all of this is artificially created.
Oh, okay.
Lab grown, hydroponic,
everything. Okay.
etc.
Wow.
Like not 100% everything. Meat and similar things would be considered an absolute delicacy here. And the Voski would be a society that does eat meat when they can get it. Not all of them, of course, but...
So is there are we talking like synthetic proteins? Like this is all grown in a lab kind of a thing?
Yeah, synthetic proteins. And it's all high quality. It's definitely high quality. It's not like gross. That's why you have to roll a science check to even notice. And I think Asena would notice because of her connection to nature, but...
Oh, that's interesting.
Like if I tried it?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Now, was Asena asking John if she's supposed to eat things in different worlds, or was that just Pods asking?
I think it was just Pods.
Okay. So...
Asena's like, are we supposed to stock up before leaving Northport? Is this okay?
So, out of character...
would hesitate.
Out of character, amongst certain supernatural beings, eating their food has risks. Like, pomegranate seeds in the Greek underworld or eating fairy food. The usual deal with fairy food is that if you eat their food, you're now their guest. And you're enchanted and you have to stay there. But if you offer them something in return, and you have to do it very delicately. You're not buying food from them. You're giving them a gift, a housewarming gift, right? A guest gift or something. If you offer them something in return, then you can eat their food and they accept it, then they can eat your food safely. But if you eat your food without giving them something in return, you usually get enchanted and can't leave.
Or some other kind of crazy thing.
Spooky.
Yeah. But these are humans. They're psionic, but they're humans. They don't follow fairy rules, and you are not in the underworld.
Yeah. Okay.
John's gonna be using his cantrips, and as they're sitting down dining, is it just the four of us, or are there others seated with us?
No, nobody else is joining you at this time. No other.
That's really awkward.
Why is that?
No, it's just, I don't know. It's almost like if I invited someone to my house and said, "Here, look at this nice spread I have for you." It's like, are you eating too? No, it's just you.
Oh, sorry. Kazimiir's eating, but nobody else is joining you. He's not watching you eat. That would be rude.
That's why I was like, okay, that's great. Oh, that's okay. No, then yeah, John goes forward with it as they're all eating the synthetic but still delicious and awesome food. John just kind of, as they're chatting, talking, almost absentmindedly while he's, cutting up and just interacting with people, trying to be as annoyingly charming as he can be. You
got the first part down.
He basically just starts playing with people's food, but from afar with his magic.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have one cutlet of synthetic food, get up and with almost like the bottom parts are legs and the top parts are arms. He'll have it like wiggle wobble its way to someone else's plate and then plop down. Things like that, just being annoyingly silly, but not like slapping people in their faces. But like when you grab a banana and you open face slap someone with a banana.
You're not. It's one of the most satisfying feelings in the world.
It's more like he's doing it when people aren't looking. So when they look back at their plate, something's different. But he's not touching it with his hands, and he's not like smacking people around and making people dirty. It's just prank stuff, silly stuff.
He's playing the parsley game with magic.
Yeah.
Okay, how does Asena, and also as you are sat down, there are attendants waiting on you. There's armed guards around the room. There are lots of different forks. It's a very fine, elegant setting, and it's not, I haven't gone into great detail, I'll admit, on Voski eating customs, but there's a lot of weird specialized utensils. This is only used for drinking synthetic alcoholic beverages. This vessel is only used for pouring wine. This vessel is only used for pouring vinegar onto your meal, which is supposed to like react with it. There's a couple of chemical reactions that are supposed to happen as part of the food. You mix these two together and it creates an edible foam. But then you only eat the edible foam with the transparent glass steel spoon. There's a lot of weird etiquette going on here.
It's like a dinner show, but like the purpose isn't to be a show. Almost.
Right. It's just
kind of what we're looking at.
They're local customs. It is to impress, and a lot of these things are meant to sort of display the power and wealth of the family, but it's a lot of molecular gastronomy stuff.
I think this is the first time John's actually sat down in an official capacity with Prince Voski. All of his other interactions were usually from the back of a car on their way just to and from one faction to another.
Well, there was also the opera.
There was the opera, but I don't. Well, again, we didn't cover it. But anyway, yeah, you are correct. There was that opera.
What is Asena eating or not eating?
She's going for the meat.
All right.
Or this fake meat or whatever.
It's tasty. It's tasty, but it's never run across the land or in a jungle or anything like that. Or been, but if you've eaten steaks at Wound, you've had farm-raised food as well, and this isn't that either.
John leans in. Hey, do you want me to change the way it tastes, or are you cool with this?
I'm fine.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You don't like it?
Well, no, I think the idea of it is fantastic. It works well for their society, and the fact that I'm hoping it's sourced in a good way and is doing more good than harm. But I like the idea that it can be a sustainable way for people to get something like this without having to keep a lot of livestock. That's a plus. While he says that, though, you can see John casting the bits of his cantrip that allows him to change what things taste like, and he's making this taste like a steak from Wound because he's not having any of it.
You just see like Asena is just like very confused with like sustainability and like not having livestock and just being like, what, like in her mind she's trying to understand the concepts that John is saying, but like, so they didn't kill something from this.
Well, as I recall, the wildlife situation in Lacunas is not good. It's very specialized creatures have made their way and have survived here, but due to the constant warring of the various factions in the area, I haven't really gone out of the immediate area. I'm certain that the farther away you go from this conflict, the planet likely has more normalized flora and fauna, but at least around here, it's a post-apocalyptic wasteland. And I think that the people, depending on what faction you go to, are just doing what they can to survive. So, no, not really.
There are very few stories from the before times about much in the way of wildlife, primarily smaller arthropods, the occasional reptilian life form. Lacunas was not selected by our ancestors for its abundance of life. It was barely able to support with minimal terraforming, and it was in a convenient location. Honestly, the invasive species, no offense, he looks at Hara, have done a much better job of adapting than any of the native flora or fauna.
John kind of jumps to Hara's defense. Well, Prince Voski, we're getting into invasive species. I'm not sure if humans were native to this place before coming here. Correct?
Completely valid. I would say that humans and dragons have done the best job of adapting to this planet, and neither of them are native to this world.
John looks over at Hara and just gives a very, just quick but subtle wink. Like, I got you.
She just looks at you blankly.
Yeah, I figured.
So please, I'm not familiar with your friend. He gestures towards Asena.
Well, actually, do you want to take point on this?
I'm Asena.
A delight to meet you. I am Prince Kazimiir of the House of Voski. You must tell me, where are you from?
It's far away.
I can imagine. The sorts of places that our ancestors dreamt of when they tore us apart the veil of space and time.
This is my first time going through space. Or time. Which one did we go through?
Both.
How fortunate. I've never done that. You have an experience unique not even a prince has tasted.
Do you want to come?
As tempting as the offer is, it would have to be under a very particular set of circumstances. I have many duties and delights that keep me at the beck and call of my people.
Ugh. Sounds boring.
It can be at times.
But he gets to eat synthetic meat on the regular. So, that's a plus.
Roll an insight check, John. And Asena.
Ooh. Insight. Bam. I'm on it. That would be a 26.
Nice. Okay. Asena, it seems like it's a completely innocent statement. John, this is not the normal food that they would serve here. Some items have been left off the menu.
Left off the menu?
Left off the menu, yes.
Such as?
Well, you're not entirely sure, but you think
I went to an opera one time.
That's true. Roll a history check.
Aha. Whabam. I said whabam.
That's insight.
Well, I clicked history. I think history and insight are bedfellows.
Stacked on top of each other, yep. 27. All right, that's fine.
I'm wasting all of my good rolls on these history checks.
Excellent. So, one of the only meats that the Voski will serve, and it is the most, high status, rare, exotic, bourgeoisie that you can get, are dragon steaks.
Right.
It's like if you're a knight and you go out and you kill a dragon, any of the corpses that you didn't harvest, the knights are looking over afterwards hey, can we you gonna finish that?
I see.
They were
every part of the dragon.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where.
So does that mean that they were with me in the trenches of the desert butchering those dragons?
No, they were going to, but they received orders not to because Hara is present.
Good job.
Yes. And now mostly they wouldn't eat full-fledged dragons because those are extremely rare, but the various dragon spawn that are running around, oh yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, no, good call.
Electric meatballs.
It wasn't a neg. It was a precaution.
Exactly. It was out of deference to the host.
Is there blue spaghetti here? Do we have blue spaghetti?
Yeah, there's blue spaghetti.
Nice. John is going ham on the blue spaghetti.
All right. The blue spaghetti is grown from a fungus. It has a dough-like texture, slightly different from dough, almost more like rice noodles, and it's extremely high in nutrients.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. But you have to use different sauces on it with a different consistency because otherwise the pasta won't stick. The sauce won't stick to the pasta. You know what I mean?
Does any of this keep? Well?
No, not what you're being served. You're being served high table food. It's not designed to be refrigerated, right?
Gotcha.
It does actually keep well because Actually, Mama Shimada in chat has a good idea. A lot of it could be 3D printed. But once it's served, it's sort of a point of status that while most food is designed to be easily stored and such, only people who are truly rich can afford to make food that spoils.
This is performance food.
This is performance food. This is
I just didn't
diplomacy
know if
food.
the fungus had like a very specific, oh yeah, this stuff will last for 20 years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just
In a different preparation, yes, but not as noodles.
John would like to inquire about that later, so we have some like good tasty rations. That,
Of course.
can stick. If it has high caloric value and nutrients, that's a gimme. It's a lot better than trail jerky.
Oh yeah. Asena, the prince is very eloquent, but he's also good at reading people and sort of meeting them where they are. So he still uses a lot of, I'm not going to say quite fancy words, but he's very quippy and witty when he talks, even though he's adjusting his vocabulary and like how he's talking in his attempts to best engage you. And he's just asking questions about your world and what you do and how you came to travel with John and that sort of thing. Are you particularly forthcoming?
I'll probably focus on things like about Northport and like my singing, and anything that's happened like from Northport, but not like childhood in Zolquia.
Okay.
What about recent adventures?
Yeah, I think for the most part. Without like getting too personal. And it's not like she's trying to hide anything. I think she's just like
just doesn't know this guy.
Yeah, and doesn't think that's a very big story.
Mm-hmm.
I should just be like, I don't have the energy.
Of course, you've been very busy fighting dragons in the desert all day.
Good point of order, because I just realized, are you still wearing your crown and your bone whip? Is that something you still have going on right now?
I don't think I had it on in the last fight.
Okay. Point of order.
You would have received a chance to wash up, by the way. You both would have given the opportunity to wash up, rest, refresh yourselves, switch out of your combat gear, however you'd like to be.
Awesome.
Gain the benefits of a short rest, although you already got one.
I don't want dead people talking to me all the time.
Could we, I don't want to back up, but if we can't do it now, at some point, if we did have, I thought we were going straight from like here to here. If John had a chance to talk to Asena before dinner, or at least at some point before,
that's fine.
After this,
I'll allow that.
Hey, Asena, quick question. That crown, it allows you to talk to dead things, right? That's where we stood.
Yeah, I think so. This is what's happening so far.
Could you try something for me?
Why?
Well, don't be offended. And John pulls out the head of one of the dragons that they killed.
What? Why do you have that?
Don't worry about it. Can you talk to this thing?
What?
I would like to see if we could gather information, try to find out why we were attacked and how. And
you just carried heads of your prey. Do you do this every time you kill someone?
I mean, not in Northport. We were killing gangsters and stuff. No, not usually. I mean, don't go through my backpack, but no, not usually.
How many heads are in your backpack?
A lot. Don't ask. Don't worry about it.
Okay, because it's a Dargan.
And mate, this would have been one of the larger, not the well, I have one. We could try both. I don't know how many times she can do it. I pulled out one of the big old ones.
So one of the storm lizards?
Yes, storm lizard.
The Crown of Dead Speech is unlimited.
Oh.
It does not have a limit on its use.
Then I will pull out at first one of the thunder lizards and then one of the marauders.
Okay. And Asena is wearing the Crown of Dead Speech because it requires attunement, and it's hers. And he pulls out this head of a corpse, and you can use the crown to talk to it if you'd like, Asena, but you have to be the one doing the talking.
Don't be mad at me. Oh yeah. I think it's mad at me. I think it's mad at me.
It can't hurt you. I promise.
But he could still be mad at me, and that sucks.
Absolutely.
Wait,
would it
he
make you
attacked
feel
us.
better? This isn't one of the ones you killed, and you can remind it that. That might get you some points.
Hi, a blue dragon.
What?
My friend wanted me to talk to you.
Why?
That's a very good question. I should ask him. John, why do you want me to talk to him?
Oh, why did he attack the... And mate, what was the word again for the deterrent word for humans?
Munthrak.
Cool. I'm not sure if this thing can see me or just talk, but John is going to use his draconic form and transform into Susfarel. And he's going to try to feign that he's a, an Ulhar noble of some kind. And
in doing so, John, you realize that the dead dragon can only perceive Asena.
Good. That's fantastic. Also, Asena, John looks like a dragon man. Don't worry about it.
What?
I can make you do this too. Don't worry about it. If you want to be a dragon, I can make you a dragon. It's no problem. It's very nice to have when you're in Lacunas, being able to look like a dragon, but only around some people. Anyway, find out, and mate, if you correct me if I'm wrong, there was a word, a different word that dragons used when speaking about humans. It was like
Munthrak.
Moonthreck, that's it. Ask the beast why they were ambushing the Moonthreck caravan.
Why Moonthreck attack?
Oh, goodness.
The master commands it.
Oh, because his master told him to.
Which master?
Oh, which master?
The Dragon Queen's messenger.
You have a dragon queen?
Yes.
Ooh, but this wasn't the dragon queen. This was the messenger.
Yes.
Are they cool?
Huh?
Do you like them?
Must be obeyed.
Yeah, I know, like, you must obey them, but like, you know, are they cool?
Strong and scary and smells like rotten dragon eggs.
Sounds pretty cool.
Oh. Wait, I can't hear this. Crap. Asena, what's it saying?
It's saying that because someone told them to, so they attack. Oh, I said that already. The queen's assistant, dragon queen's assistant.
I mean, I gather she's talking about Tiamat, right? Okay. Yeah, this comes this. So the fiend that it was following, is it just the Abishai? So ask it if the Abishai that it follows, if there are more, and also which suzerain does this group serve?
Those are very big words, John.
Ask it which dragon boss it serves.
Dragon boss. Okay. To the dead dragon. Thank you so much for answering our questions. It's been real fun. My friend John over here wants me to ask. I forgot already. The
Dragon boss.
Dragon boss. You're following a dragon boss? Why?
No.
No.
Just the Dragon Queen's messenger. The Dragon Queen is the boss. Used to follow Dragon Boss, but not anymore.
Is he a bad guy?
No, Dragon Queen's messenger, just bigger, stronger, more important.
Got you. That makes sense to me. You just want to be like on the winning side.
Do not have a choice. The Dragon Queen must be obeyed.
Oh, okay. No free will apparently over here.
Say that. What did he say?
No dragon boss, just dragon queen assistant.
Did their boss die, or did they voluntarily leave the boss for the queen?
Well, he said that the queen's just like bigger and better.
Yes, but did their boss die? That's important to know.
Okay. Did the boss that was lesser and not as cool as the queen, did that die?
I don't think so.
I don't think it's dead.
Were they voluntold to join up with this fiendish, aberrant servant of the queen?
I mean, he makes it sound like that. He said he has to obey. Must
Okay.
obey.
Interesting. John takes the head, dumps it back in the briefcase, pulls out a smaller head of one of the marauders.
You didn't
Asena-
even let me say goodbye.
Oh, sorry. John pulls the head back.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
What?
Oh, do you have any? You can ask me questions to make it fair.
Oh no.
Where are my legs?
Gone.
Oh.
But I think you're gonna be fine, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
What?
This is Matt, not John. Tell him his legs went to go serve a more powerful dragon. John's like just watching this exchange and just kind of slowly reaching towards the skull, like, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, John puts the bigger head back in the briefcase, takes out the smaller head, and places it down upon whatever desk or table they're using. Okay, and then this one, just to see if maybe the marauders had any different information than the larger. I don't know if I remember this one.
Hi, little Dargan head. Ooh, you sound cuter. Oh, okay. That was very scary. That was much scarier. How are you doing?
Where are my legs?
There has been a couple of cases of missing legs lately. So I'm not sure. But I was hoping we could have a conversation about stuff. Okay with you. I just have a couple questions.
Okay.
Cool. I think we can ask this one questions too, John.
Oh, good. Can you ask him the same exact questions you asked the last one?
I forgot the questions.
Oh, goody. Can you find out why they attacked us, who their boss was, and did their boss die?
Okay. She's gonna pull out the pen from her pocket and like start writing on
The one stolen from Carmichael's office, yeah.
Yeah. Why attack?
Nice pen.
Thank you. It's my favorite.
Mine too.
That like goes over her head. She doesn't even. Okay. Why attack? Who boss? And what else?
If their boss died. Also, follow-up question. Were all of the dragons that were a part of the ambush group from the same boss? Let's put it that way. Or were they from multiple bosses that were voluntold to join this servant of the queen?
All Dargan, Queen Dargan group?
John mentally prepares to just literally write out whatever he needs and then hands it to her next time.
She's like looking at her hand and be like, she already can't read.
It's mostly illegible.
Okay, Mr. Small Dargan. Why attack us?
Moonflix must be attacked.
Minthrax? What's a Minthrax?
They walk around on 2 legs and they don't have scales and they have metal things that go blah, blah, and they hurt a lot and they
Human.
suck. Yeah, sure.
John, what's a Minthrax?
Yeah, you got it. You nail on the head there. It's a very derogatory term that dragons use to describe you you and me and others like us.
That's funny. Okay. Who's your boss?
Old boss or new boss?
Both.
Tundra Chandarian!
Whoa. That sounds scary.
Matt, did you kill Trundra Chandarian? I don't recall if you killed.
No, I killed Jim Kimbatul.
Yeah, you killed Jimmy Kimbatul, but you didn't kill Trundra Chandarian.
Is that new boss or old boss?
Old boss.
Old boss. What happened to him? Or her?
New boss.
New boss.
The Dragon Queen's messenger.
Ah, yes. Dragon Queen's messenger. And I assume you are also following them out of obedience.
Yes. And fear. Small fear. A little bit.
Oh.
Tiny.
Just
Minuscule.
a healthy bit of fear. Small amounts of good.
Asena, what is he selling you?
Do you ever miss your old boss?
It's only been like a week.
A week? Oh man.
Very quick reassignment.
Quite a quick chain of command change. Okay. John.
Yes.
They're also working with the Queen's messenger
Okay.
out of obedience.
Okay.
They used to work for another Dargan who's not dead.
Do you know the name of that other Dargan?
I forgot.
Could you sound it out for me? I could probably tell it if you could just. What did it begin with?
A T?
A T. That's something to go off of. I can do research with that.
Maybe?
Maybe. Ask him one more time, please. It's her. I'm not sure. I don't have the rest of the body.
Oh, what? Gross. Okay. Mr. or Mrs. Dargan. What was the name of your old boss again? I'm just going to write it down this time.
Trundra Chedandian.
Hey, can you just post that in chat?
No.
No.
Tundra Chedandian.
Yes. Awesome. And I had one more question. What? Are you okay?
Fewer legs than before. Also, dead.
More? Oh, man. I wonder what's happening over there. You can still feel that?
No. Not really.
Oh,
Dead.
okay. I was going to say, maybe you weren't dead after all.
Pretty dead.
You know what? I forgot the last question.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
Goodbye.
Oh, God. What else did he tell you, Asena? How long ago did he leave this T-named dragon?
A week ago.
A week ago. Excellent. And was this the same dragon that the giant lizards served previously?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Could you ask? He's still there. He's not going anywhere.
Goodbye.
Well, yeah, but you could say hi again.
Okay. Hi, I'm back. That's I remembered my last question. All of the dragons that you were fighting with, are they all under the same queen assistant person?
Yes.
Dragon.
And were they all under the same boss, the previous team
How
boss?
about like a week ago? Were you guys on the same?
No. No.
How did you all just end up being on the queen side?
Dragon Queen's messenger shows up, says, hey, I need this, and that one over there. And Tundra Chedandian says, Yes, hail Dragon Queen.
So your boss also serves the queen.
Yes. All dragons serve the queen.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Most dragons serve the queen. Color-coded dragons serve the queen.
Color coded?
Yes. Not the metal dragons. They're weak and pathetic. I've never actually seen one or met one. I don't know if they really exist, but I'm told they exist, and we're supposed to hate them, so I hate them.
Well, here's the thing, Dargan. You should probably meet somebody and talk to them before you decide if you're gonna hate them.
Probably not an option where I am now.
That's true. But never say never. Maybe you'll see one in death. Somewhere, wherever you are. You
Very
obviously
unlikely,
exist
given
somewhere.
current circumstances.
Okay, John.
What did you find?
No. The answer was no.
So they're all from the same group, or no,
No.
they are all from different groups?
They're all from different groups.
Okay, good. Perfect.
Until about a week ago.
So you're saying that Dragon Spawn were drafted from the different Alharian factions. Is that what this little marauder is telling you?
What does drafted mean?
Like pressed into service, voluntold, forced to work for them.
Pretty much. It said that the queen needed some people, or Dargans. The queen needed Dargans, and that his boss said, okay, anything for the queen, and then they went with them.
Excellent. Okay, this is good information to go off of. Oh,
Also,
last one
the
final
name
question.
That it's Trunda Dargan. Trunda.
Can I make a check to see if I recall the name of this dragon?
Yes. Intelligence.
Intelligence, not history, intelligence?
I would allow history.
Perfect. All right. And history. 22.
Trundra Chadandian is the leader of the Throden Kothar.
That was my next question. So that's fantastic. Trunda, one more time. Cha.
Okay, I'm going to spell this one. now that you've made a
Thank
check,
you.
I'm spelling this because dragon names are a mouthful.
Yep.
All right, keep doing stuff while I spell this. It's going to take me a moment.
No problem. Okay. That was incredible, Asena. Well done. Great information gathering.
Thanks.
If you want to say goodbye to this little fellow, I'll go ahead and plop him back in the briefcase.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you for answering my questions.
Avernus calls and I must return.
Avernus. Okay, have fun in Avernus.
Bye.
What? Hold on a second.
Bye.
All right then. Interesting.
She'll like take off the crown and like tuck it under her arm. She's holding it like a helmet or something.
Would John like to make an Arcana check?
Yeah.
Okay.
John would like to make an Arcana check.
Would Darius like to make an Arcana check? Too bad.
He could try, but no.
Tiamat, the five-headed chromatic queen of dragons, has her domain / prison in Avernus, the first circle of the Nine Hells of Baator.
Does John know how to get there?
If you had a plane shift spell and the rights, okay, not from Dragun. You don't know how to get there from Dragun because Dragun.
I was going to say you have to be in a certain area in order to make that transition.
But
right?
Fun fact: the Dragon Queen seems to have her eye on this world, and she seems to have sent a denizen of Avernus to this world. So perhaps that connection is less tenuous than we thought.
Interesting. Well, yeah, the Throden Kothar operates here. Also operates here. Okay, interesting. And John's just kind of I'm keeping my own notes, but John is just collecting notes and writing it into his handy dandy notebook as she is collecting this. One of the notes he makes is, let Asena go off on tangents. She gets better information that way.
All right. Do you want to fast forward back to the middle of our dinner party?
I don't have anything else unless Asena does.
Was there anything else Asena would want to do while getting ready for said dinner party? And it's a very small
No.
party. It's more like a small private dinner, not a party.
Yeah.
John would change into a no. He always usually stays in his same outfit. He'll stay in the same outfit. He has no reason to not look like a planeswalker.
All right. Back you go. We zoom back forward where Prince Kazimiir is making lots of polite conversation about your home world, asking what it's like, what are the people there like, what are their stories and traditions, what's their architectural sensibilities like. And he's not hitting Asena with all these questions. He's whatever Asena indicates interest or knowledge in is where he leads his questions, right? He's always sort of meeting you where you're at. But he'll occasionally just jostle a question over to John about this other world, which he's never been to. We don't have to go through the entire conversation, of course, but he's definitely interested in Asena and in Gastone, which we'll cover down the line.
I was going to say, I feel like Gastone would be somewhat secretive, but not like outright hostile about his information. And, John would back him up in whatever way he needed him to.
And we're very shortly just going to sideline Hara and Gastone as they go off to do their own thing. Get him some technology, get him read up on nuclear fission, engineering, all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and sideline them and let the focus be just on Asena and John and Kazimiir. And Chester.
The important point of order, there is a place at the table for Chester.
If he's seen, he is served.
He is seen.
If there wasn't a setting for him before, one will be arranged for him.
And he does the super cute cat thing where he jumps up onto the table, like sits very like proper as somebody pushes in the chair, and he like waits very patiently for the food. And as it comes, he's a cat, so he can't literally reach up and like grab things, but he'll definitely like kind of like pull the dish closer and then like lap out from the bowls and eat from the trays, and anything that's brought to him he samples it and has the same amounts of disgruntled appreciation for the food that the rest seem to.
Excellent. So eventually the way the scene is going to go is Kazimiir is going to ask you what brings you back to Lacunas. But before the conversation takes that tack, do either Asena or John have anything that they want to bring up or do at the dinner?
I'm going to default to pods for now because I do have something.
I don't think she has anything.
Okay.
There's food. She's happy with that.
Excellent. Good enough. What does John want to bring up before the conversation takes that tact?
During the conversation, by the way, John is going to send, just as subtly as he can, he's going to send Prince Voski a message letting him know that, his companions are only just becoming well-traveled, and if you'd like them to open up more about where they're from, you'll want to give as much as you get, if that makes sense. Share a bit about your culture and what you have going on, and it will likely open them up more to share about theirs. So he's just kind of giving him some play about the group.
Prince Kazimiir is going to make an insight check. Natural 20. Asena, do you give a shit about him, his culture, or this place? Will that make you interested in opening up or no?
Who, the prince?
Yeah.
I mean, I think she cares mildly.
All right. Kazimiir is eminently aware of the fact that she only cares mildly. And therefore, he doesn't talk too much about himself or his city. He'll do that thing where occasionally you tell him something, and then he'll respond with something like about his, where he comes from and his culture, and how, you talk about the vehicles in your city. So that's so interesting. We have races here. They're just not in the streets. It just gives little bits and pieces like that, but it's mostly about showing that he's relating to you. Yeah. Or interested in the ways that the two of you have had different experiences, but not overly elaborating on his stuff. Or doing the BioWare thing where you go up and you talk to somebody and they'll give you the entire codex entry on where they're from and what they're all about.
Yeah. Point of order, was he a mech lancer?
Kazimiir? No.
Yeah,
No.
unfortunate.
His son.
Does he?
His son is.
Ah.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
That son?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's not entirely relevant, but yes.
No. Kazimiir was raised. He is of the bloodline of the Voski, which means he is an Esper. He has psionic powers. But while he is capable of using a mech and being a lancer, that was never his forte.
Does John get the sense, or does he know from their conversations that he's not as good at it, or he's mostly focused on diplomacy rather than combat?
He's heavily focused on diplomacy rather than combat.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Good to know. John is going to inquire as to how the alliance between the various factions that have come to associate themselves with the Azure Accord have been getting along since his absence.
Yes. Well, ever since that business that we arranged, he turns to Asena and will read her in. The last time that John visited us, he assisted me in a diplomatic venture. We went to all the different groups of humans who were fighting amongst themselves, and to some of the dragons who were agreeable, and we all agreed to a truce so that we could focus on the dragons who are trying to conquer everybody. As for said treaty, I would say that things are going rather well, John. The Ulhar threat has diminished drastically. We cannot afford any lack of vigilance, of course, and continue to muster equipment and reconnaissance along those borders, but for the first time in a very long time, the Ulhar advance and constant encroaching has been halted.
That's incredible. I mean, I
Yes.
got the sense from returning here. It seems as though the territory held by the Ulhar has been relegated to comparatively a small fraction of what it used to be.
Mm-hmm. No, I wouldn't say that they've had too many losses. It's more that the speed at which they push into other territories has been halted. They still control vast swaths of the east.
But at least the lands that you and your the other factions on Lacunas have been able to at least safeguard their borders and have prevented any further attention.
The greatest victory would be the consolidation of power over previously contested territories.
We got a very clinical welcome when we arrived here on Lacunas. The Exarch appears to be making quite a move.
Yes, the Exarchate. They have made no direct efforts, but they've been quite aggressive in terms of claiming neutral or otherwise unclaimed territory and their surveillance, and we've noticed quite a few unusual messages throughout our entire system and amongst our population, extolling the virtues of the Exarchate and questioning the authority and the right of the Voski and the other principalities to lead. I think we're seeing the very first trace the vanguard of a vast propaganda campaign. The Exarchate is not so foolish as to invade us with their machines and their weapons, but they are sowing the seeds of mistrust.
Have there been many amongst the 3 colonies of Espers that have left to join the Exarchate?
No, certainly not. But the machine's concept of time is vast. This is just the first drops of whatever it is that they have planned.
And have communications outside of this budding alliance that we started almost a year ago, has that improved? Have you and the other factions of Psychers been able to interact with the other groups? Is there parlays? Is there discussions? I know even if not outright alliance, have you been able to open communications at all?
Yes, there's been diplomatic relations. The coalition is divided as usual. They've got so many small little settlements and various would-be warlords, all pulling them in different directions, and a long-standing mistrust of our glorious families. Dodd here, though, quite the shrewd diplomat.
Really?
Yes, the Azure Accord, Malef and Dodd here. There's a certain amount of zeal and a very fond tradition in our family of hunting dragons as a proof of strength and of dedication to the people. And that is hundreds of years of history as a vast glacier, difficult to turn aside. But progress is being made.
What of Constantina? Is she still? Is she okay? First of all,
Yes. Yes, we've remained in contact.
and mate, correct me if I'm wrong. Constantina actually helped us in
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
fight
she
of the
was
mountain.
she was vital in that battle. She is not all the coalition territories are in alignment with her philosophy.
Not all, but at least some.
Yes, a sizable contingent, yes.
Okay, so more than a minority, but less than a true competitor to what was that man named Stern? Who was
General
the,
Shell. General
Shell?
Edwin Shell.
That's it.
But
Does he still kind of control the general consensus of what happens in and amongst the coalition?
yes, he still has a larger following. But I fear that lines of communication are being surveyed and occasionally altered by the
Really?
Exarchate. Yes.
As in intercepting your messages and changing them?
Yes.
Interesting.
In small, subtle ways to manipulate events however it is that they see fit. It's
And-
impossible to detect and prove. If it was not for the third eye of our seers, we may not even have noticed it.
And what of the renegades, the lawless individuals that roam the lands and raid?
Their attacks have largely been curtailed. The lack of infighting between us and the other principalities and the Exarchate. The Exarchate in particular has moved into that central territory, and renegades are not doing well against them at all. But all of us have hardened our borders, and they're more forced to turn to Ulhar territories, either joining them or raiding them.
Have the Exarchate been converting any of them?
What happens to them is out of my hands, and to a certain degree my knowledge. But they would always rather bring the lost children of Lacunas under their umbrella than anything else.
And you spoke to Dodhir's diplomacy, which is that's great to hear. Has he been able to? I know that he had a band of renegades under his control himself. Has he been able to convince any of these ravagers of the sands to join with him instead of falling
Yes,
to the Exarchate?
yes. His little band grows with every passing day.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right.
But I doubt that you, as welcome as you are at my table, I doubt that you and your friends, he gestures over at Asena, have come to talk politics with the prince.
Yes, certainly. My apologies. I've been
No.
gone for so long.
he gestures appreciatively at Asena. A rare luxury, directness in my business.
Well, not all of us have the punch to back up our words like Asena can.
It's true. Usually when people just say things that I don't like, I just punch them in the face.
You would fit in well amongst my knights.
It has absolutely been it's been welcomed. As you see, I've been traveling with more and more people as of late. I've not been the it's a lot let's just say when you're a solitary figure, you have to be very careful. But the more that you travel with, you can loosen the belt a bit, as it were. You've shared much, and to that I appreciate it, Prince Voski. To that end, we are on a bit of a mission ourselves, and we would like the help of you and your seers specifically, but any assistance with your vast connection of resources would be of great aid to us. If you'd like, mate, I can word for word, or to just for the sake of brevity, John would be willing to just catch him up on, again, touching on the adventures that Asena had already regaled him with within Northport, but specifically the attack upon the crime family. Again, he would be aware of other such nobles that would be using their power for good or for ill. This, Master of Thornacre being one of them. And we had discovered that he had a long lost daughter that is being only barely cared for and not in good circumstances. And one of our own, and John gestures to Gastone, has made it his mission to help her. And my associate, you recall Hara, pointed out that the technology and magic of the Vignar would be a more than suitable match. As you recall, before the final conflict, I was able to use a bit of magic and guile to send the Vignar on their way, make them watchers instead of participants, which comes with both its pros and cons, most of which that we can't find them, or at least it'll be very difficult to find them. Have you heard any hide nor hair of the Vignar since those times?
Not a whisper.
Goody.
They seem to have vanished completely.
Well, our request from you is twofold. We would like your assistance in locating and uncovering either the Vignar as a whole, or at least a base of theirs of operations with which we can locate and either parlay for or take the technology that we need. Additionally, I need to find a way back to the planets, or at least system, that I was in before I arrived here on Lacunas, and I was hoping you might be able to assist with that as well. I have an option if in case I have a backup plan, but if I used it, I would need to make sure that I could secure a way back, which I'd prefer not to go back the way I came originally.
Well, we owe you a debt of gratitude for prior service to the Voski people. It is no small thing to ask us to turn the eye of our seers away. Any moment that they spend not contemplating the future of our people or watching the paths of time and probability for what our enemies are doing could result in incalculable losses. The eyes of all the other forces are similarly turned against us, but you saved our people, you saved our entire city. I can permit one question of the Seers.
Ooh,
Okay.
one question.
Oh, goody.
As for the rest, the Exarchate currently controls the portal facility, which originally led back to the world you want to go to, if I understand correctly.
In which case, my assistance from you is a little more direct and possibly a bit easier. However, that was my next line of questioning. You and I had worked together previously in order to save your people and to plot the downfall of the Ulhar to great success. I was wondering if we could pull off such a, if we could do it again.
What do you have in mind?
Well, how would you like to be in control of the portal leading to and from Lacunas instead of the Exarchate? You've already said that they've been sending out propaganda campaigns throughout your people, and I'm assuming the rest of the nobles and otherwise across Lacunas. And it's no secret that they're preparing for something, and having this facility only gives them more of a reason to continue taking land and people. But if you and the other nobles who very tactically surround the portal were able to come together, like we brought others together before, what if there was a trifecta of nobles who were in control and could safeguard the location? What if Voski had a hand in what goes on coming to and from Lacunas?
Roll a persuasion check, John.
Just a persuasion check?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
14. Let's talk further about this. I have some ideas. I've been working with Lynn as an interested party in curtailing the influence of the AI Exarch on our world. She had mentioned to me that I've already learned of your interest in the Vignar, and similarly, I've now learned of her interest in the Vignar. And if you're able to find them, we might be able to get exactly what we need to halt the threat of the Exarchate and seize control of the portal. That's a second reason for me to help you. Let's take care of that part first, and then we'll form a plan.
I'm amenable to that. Absolutely.
All right. Is there anything else you want to discuss at dinner, or do we want to move forward to the scene with the Seers?
No, I think unless Asena would like further discussions or pleasantries, John doesn't want to push it with the prince. Though it is good to see him again and to share in their planning.
Yes.
He
The
hasn't
first
been here for quite a while. So.
one thing I want to make clear, and this is something that John and Asena would have picked up on, access to the Seers is him returning a favor. He owes you.
Yeah.
The portal thing, he's willing to talk about because it's mutually beneficial.
Exactly.
Not because he's an asshole, but because he's a head of state and he can't afford to just take on massive enemy factions without, there being a good reason for him to do it.
Which is why John phrased it in the way that he did,
Yeah.
to ensure that it wasn't just, hey, you're helping me. He was kind of pushing it as a, hey, I could help you again, but I get something for it, kind of a thing.
All right. Now, if you want to ask the Seers multiple questions, you would need to further sweeten the pot. Because again, it's like using time on a very important supercomputer that's constantly farming cryptocurrency.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, I didn't want to ask in that middle of that scene, but John's been in this area before, and I'm sure he has at least the semblance of a sense of exactly what these Seers do. What I'm getting at is there has to be a way that, aside from the fact that they're using their gifts of divination in order to help sway different outcomes in their favor, be able to see things just prior to it happening, etc., etc. There has to be a tangible way, a mundane or magical way that John and his associates would be able to, let's say, lighten the burden and maybe help the Voski with a thing or two in order to buy more time for this collection of Seers.
Well, if you were to kill the Exarch and destroy the Exarchate, that's on the wish list.
Yeah, that's an incredibly tall order. That's not destroying the Exarchate isn't, I want another question. That's give me one of your Seers kind of a deal. Like, that's an entire faction. That's insane.
Anything that you do to harm or curtail the efforts, just like if you did something that sabotaged the Exarchate in some way, in a major way, that would definitely get you another question and more time with the Seers. There is one other thing you could do. You see, the Voski are, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds since we have limited time, and I want to get to the next scene so Asena can do stuff. Kazimiir is dealing with a little bit of a succession crisis.
Because of his son.
So
you say, if I brought his son back, that would easily get more questions.
Easily.
Oh God, I forgot his name.
Athanias?
Athanias, is that his only son?
Yes, his only child.
Of course it is. They couldn't just clone another Athanias. They clone their meat.
The Voski do not clone their sacred bloodline.
I mean, not to get personal, but I mean, Voski's still a, I mean, is everything all right?
Yes, but the problem is that the Voski bloodline is very carefully managed by a bunch of geneticists and by the visions of the Seers. And Prince Kazimiir's appointed wife is dead.
What?
Yes. Oh, she
is
died.
That a recent? Okay,
no,
good.
She died years ago. Years ago.
And he doesn't get another counselly appointed.
No, there's nobody else who would be a suitable replacement. The Seers have looked through the pathways of space and time, and this is how it's going to be. So he's in a bit of a kerfuffle.
I'm sorry. This is Matt now. I'm trusting a group of Seers to help me find a secret organization that can't find their prince a wife.
There is no other acceptable wife, and there's no other acceptable
let's be
heir.
Honest, there's more fish in the sea, mate. Like, there's absolutely somebody here. Okay, if there's not someone here on Lacunas, we could find somebody from somewhere. There is some eligible ladies in Northport. There is a whole plethora of multiverses out there with.
How far can the Seers see?
That's a great question. I don't think Matt knows. I don't think either of you know. You could go visit them.
I'm just saying, I get for storyline reasons why this is important, but if these Seers, out of all the people here on this planet, which maybe isn't as many as I'm thinking.
It's not that many. There's probably, if it wasn't for the fact that the Exarchate can clone people, the population of Lacunas is probably below 1 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that including the people serving the Ulhar?
No, actually. It probably exceeds that because of the people serving the Ulhar.
Okay, but of the rebellious factions, we're looking at 1 million between all of them. Okay. Ish.
But
God,
the
that's not-
Exarchate being a question mark and the Ulhar being a question mark.
Okay, the Exarchate is also a question
Yeah.
mark. Okay.
Again, all these people are descended from a research colony.
No. I get that. It's just, I mean, even then, 1 million people and not one of them, like that's.
Kazimiir is as frustrated about it as you are. Probably
I'm
more
just
so.
saying, maybe I know Leonidas in the movie couldn't get the Oracle to tell him to go to war, but like I feel like we could get the Oracle to find a lady. Like we could do that.
Yeah.
We could open up a Carmichael and Carmichael dating agency here if we really needed to. I mean,
if a lot of you were able to find Kazimiir a new Seer approved partner, one, that would be a great side quest, and two, that would absolutely earn you some more processing time with the old Seer computer.
let me ask you this, because I'm assuming do they know what the formula that the Seers are looking for this possible bride is?
Formula? No. Here's the thing. The Seers, they dwell within a floating ring around the central spire.
Yeah.
Gravity flows inwards. They are all locked into pods, into machines, constantly opening their third eye to gaze upon the twisting paths of probability and infinite potential futures, doing the Doctor Strange thing, right?
Yeah.
But their vision is not as perfect as his. All their psionic power is combined, and together they look at all the different infinite paths of probability and see how many futures have this and how many futures have this. And their vision of those individual futures is not perfect. So they sort amongst the infinite possible futures, and then they basically select the ones that are the most likely, and they come up with decisions. But it's not like the same as having a computer, because they can literally see possible futures. They're not calculating probabilities. They're seeing through the veil of space and time.
And see, this is what I mean, though. And I don't mean to like tear into your awesome lore here, but if you have like, we know we've checked everything. There's no one here that's a match for you. But also on the other hand, we're very imperfect and we don't have time to really look because we're too busy with the war effort and we can't find you a suitable bride. Maybe they've only checked the city. Maybe they've only checked the immediate block surrounding his house. Maybe they've checked, more. Who knows? I'm just saying we are perfect and there literally is no bride for you, but also we're imperfect. Like, don't ask.
Well, it's also a matter of tradition. It's a very traditional thing. You have to be Seer approved, right? So, I
guess what I'm getting at is I don't want to waste our one Seer question to go, who would make a suitable bride? And not just the person, what qualifications or what feels right to you? Like what is the prophecy of the new wife?
The way that it works is it has to do with the outcome of their children and if their children would be successful leaders of the Voski. That's what it has to do with. And it's not predetermined because there's still a lot of things that can happen in terms of random shit, nature versus nurture, etc. But they look through possible futures and say there's a lot of futures where if these two people have children, those children will be prosperous leaders that will lead the Voski to succeed.
Secondary question. Again, because we haven't done a deep dive into the succession line of the Voski. But let's say that Prince Voski doesn't have a good heir set up. I'm assuming there's other nobles within his line that will then take over?
Yes, which is another reason why this isn't a priority, because in the event that he's not able to secure his own dynasty, there's a contingency. So the Voski people are like, the situation is covered. Athenius ran off to join the circus, so he's not going to be the next prince. So it's going to pass to Kazimiir's younger brother or his cousin or something. Well, we're not going to waste Seer time on this when we came up with a solution, delivered it to you, and, you're the one whose son ran away.
This would mostly just be John doing Kazimiir.
And Kazimiir has the authority to give you more Seer time.
I see. Okay.
Yes. This would be a political favor.
Well.
I think we should just find the sun.
Well, no, here's the thing. John knows where the sun is. That's not a problem. It's just convincing him to come home is the problem because long story short, you
don't convince people of things. You just do things to them.
What? John doesn't just do things to people.
Yeah,
Hara looks across the table.
John has definitely, when the need arose, he has made a powerful suggestion or enchantment if necessary, but generally John tries to talk to people as much as possible. It's kind of like there's a tier list of like, hey, how important is this and how much actual mojo needs to be applied to make this work. Also, no, John's never just forced somebody, hey, you need to go home or you need to go get married or, you know.
You need to turn into a human and think you're my assistant.
Instead of killing you, absolutely. Yes, there was, you could die, or also, hey, yeah, rather than killing you, how would you like to be a apprentice magician and go on a cool quest full of magic and adventure? And look, John spends a lot of time amongst his own friends defending his actions when they've only ever heard of him doing these things. He's never done that in front of them that didn't involve bad guys, and only temporarily. Anyway, yes, John very easily could find the lost heir of the Voski line and compel him to return home. That's not, you know, I don't know. I don't think that sounds like a John doesn't want to do that. He's friends mostly with that guy. You know,
Asena doesn't know him. Asena could just clobber him on the head.
Yeah. All we have to do is kidnap him.
And then he
Drop
runs
him
away
off.
again.
Then is that our problem?
Well, not entirely, but I don't know if just kidnapping him and saying, look, here he is, and that's going to get us a question.
You get your second question, so we leave.
Asena, have you ever heard the term burning a bridge? Because that really sounds like...
Here's the DM's question. Does John need a question, or are there any big mysterious questions that Asena might like answered?
Yeah,
the Seers
absolutely.
can see beyond the veil of space and time. They know all sorts of things.
Imperfectly can see beyond the veil of space and time.
Imperfectly, but you know.
We could ask about the celestial dragon thingy that I see.
Absolutely. I'm not against getting questions for any and everybody who needs them. I'm just saying the method in which we go about this should be thought about and curtailed, and not just kidnapping people.
You'd rather jump around the universe looking for a wife that doesn't exist.
I didn't necessarily say that. Didn't necessarily say that, but you know, there's always an option. I've met quite a fair amount of people across my travels who genuinely may be, you know, they might want to fill such a role, and they're awesome. So who knows? But again, we haven't even gotten that far as part of this discussion. Look, I'm not sure I'm entirely comfortable with us either brainwashing or capturing the young man and returning him home. I don't even know if by doing that would guarantee us a question, unless we were able to convince him to return and accept his station.
You kind of would have to convince him to return and accept his station, because he's not just like not here. He's renounced his bloodline.
Yeah.
Why don't we move on to your first question, since, Matt, you have limited time. And you can always jockey for a second one.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's what we're looking at, because, again, out of character, Matt, to DM, I feel kind of bad taking our only question when we can't talk to Gastone about it.
Well, the first question would, of course, be, how can we find the Vignar? That's like something you would all agree on. That's easy. That's the reason I set up these plot lines in the first place. Like, and more questions are a bonus.
Here's that. You're right. You're absolutely right. I guess where I'm sitting is, I don't want us to get screwed on the wording where it's like, oh, help us find the Vignar. And it's like, oh, what Vignar? And we, you know, they pull the whole like, oh, you didn't say it right, and now
the Seers don't operate like that. They're not computers, and they're not weird oracles. They're people whose minds are in a gigantic, you know, psychic calculation going on. They're capable of they're capable of nuance.
They're capable of empathy.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, because nuance is different than empathy.
They're not
trying to get my intent across.
These aren't genies, all right? I'll put it that way.
Okay. Then, yeah, I mean, John's going to confirm. Okay, Asena, and then DM version of, you know, Hara and Gastone. Are we okay with using that as our question to get the ball rolling? And then as we go act on this information, we may be able to assist the Voski Empire. What are you guys?
Principality.
Assist the Principality and possibly get more questions, such as who is the Cosmic Dragon? Will I ever have my own mech? I don't know. Whatever's important to you guys.
You want
I think if Gastone was here, he would say the answer to that one's yes.
It's like, oh yeah, I will make a mech.
Here for that.
I'm just spitballing here. I mean, obviously, you want to know who this dragon is. I'm assuming this cosmic dragon that almost pulled you away during our transition from Yord to Lacunas.
Yeah, a little bit. Not a lot of bit.
Not a
We
lot
can
of it.
lead with Voski.
Okay.
That is our main quest.
Then Sally Ho.
All right. After a long rest, go ahead and take a long rest.
Yay.
Yes. You are brought under the authority of Prince Kazimiir himself to the most heavily guarded area of the city. You've been here before, John. You've stood before the final chamber, battling the abominations of the Throden Kothar as they tried to break through this last door, but you've never crossed through it. You've never entered it into the inner chamber. You take a floating gravity bridge that realigns your gravity as you float from the outer city to the ring, the torus that constantly orbits around the central spire. It's an incredibly disorienting experience, almost like when you passed through the portal and transited through the astral plane. Your stomach goes weird. It's like you're on a roller coaster or falling, where you just sort of get butterflies, zero gravity for a moment. And then when it realigns, instead of walking along the planet, when you're inside the torus, you walk along the outside of the spinning ring. And you are granted access. The guards here, think like custodes, huge power armor, massive psionic weapons, lots and lots of plasma guns. This is the most important protected area, perhaps more important than Prince Kazimiir himself to the survival of the city. Within is a vast single chamber. It has bulkheads that can be dropped, but at the moment they're open. It is divided into small little areas or nests, I'd almost say. Within each nest is a vast machine with intricate Baroque architecture, painted with gold and beset with gems alongside the glowing machinery. Inside of a sealed pod that's glowing with an energy field protecting it, float the Seers, one in each of the different nodes of the torus. They float in their own little areas, suspended in gas, a liquid, a plasma. It flows around them in different colors of violet and blue. They are so heavily masked and hooked up to the machines physically that you can't tell if they're even human anymore.
Oh, wow.
From them flow streams of pure psionic energy towards a central band at the inside of the torus, and it hums with audible power. And whatever it is, John, roll an Arcana check, and Asena, roll a Charisma check. No, a Wisdom check, please. 16 Arcana, 17 Wisdom.
I think I did the wrong wisdom.
That's fine. You rolled high enough. Asena, as you walk in and you feel this glowing hum, and there's this strange source of effervescent blue and gold lights coming from that central ring. And as it hums, you can almost hear in your mind the voices of the Seers just at the edge, almost like you're in an incredibly crowded restaurant or a convention center with a million conversations going on at once, but it's a little bit away from you. It's like you're in a closed room inside of Comic-Con with just the noise going on out there, but it's all inside your mind. John, there is an energy source with which you are unfamiliar.
Okay, unfamiliar how? I mean, I know I'm unfamiliar with it, but does it register as something from this world or even alien from this place?
You've never encountered it in this place before. It is a energy field similar to magic. It's definitely psionic, some sort of special substance or material, an unknown element that the inner ring has this binding circuit along. And it is it's sealed inside of metal canisters that are almost entirely closed, but the light is glowing outside of it, some sort of psionic mineral or element. And the beams of energy tethering the Seers to this ring is what forms their hive mind, their communal thought process. One of the custodians, yes.
Point of order. What gear or armaments were we allowed to bring to this place? Were we searched? Was anything confiscated, left in our rooms?
You would have been, but the Guardians remembered you standing against the Godslayer before these very doors. They instruct you don't touch anything, don't mess with anything, don't steal anything, but you've already been here and you've saved our people, so we're going to trust you. You can bring all your stuff.
Okay. John is appreciative and will... I don't know. Are these royal guards? Do they do touching, or are they like?
No touching. No touching.
John, as he goes to like give one of them like a shoulder pat, but if it looks kind of like, oh no, don't do that, John won't.
Yeah,
do that.
That would not be appropriate. These are like psionic knights who have sworn their lives not to fighting in mechas and glory, but just to guarding the Seers. It's an incredibly sacred, holy duty, and they are very disciplined, and they have no lives. So
John's insanely high passive insight. I think he would get that, and does not do that thing that he said maybe would happen.
All right, there is basically a translator who is going to take your question, who's standing beside one of the pods and near a nexus of psionic energy, and looks at the two of you dressed in ceremonial garments. It is a great honor and a rare blessing to be allowed to address the Seers. What knowledge do you seek of them?
John looks between Asena and Gastone. We are here to locate a hidden faction. Oh, you want me to elaborate? Okay, I thought this was like a...
Yes.
I tell you, you tell me, we go back and forth. Okay.
Tell me, instruct me as to what knowledge you seek, and I will convey it to the Seers.
One moment, please. John turns back to his companions. Okay, so we're going to be requesting for any information and or the whereabouts of the Vignar. Do we want to elaborate or get specific, or we want to just keep it general and just see what they get? John turns back to the guy. How specific do we need to be with this line of questioning? If we focus in on a more specific question, are we going to get a better answer? Or if we keep it more generalized, are they just going to throw out the net and whatever they get is whatever they get? What are we looking at here?
The Seers are going to help you find a future.
So if we present them with a scenario, then they're going to be able to tell us the likelihood of how successful that would be.
You said you wanted to find a hidden faction. If you tell me what faction that is, the Seers will look upon the paths of space and time and see how many of them intersect your future with that faction's future. And they'll sort through those to see which of those are the fastest and which of those result in you dying the less often.
Excellent. That would be the Vignar.
All right. The caretaker, who's also psionic, communes with one of the nearby machines for a moment. And as the question enters the communal mind of the Seers, the Seer that he just inputted in flares. The psionic tether snaps. For a moment inside the machine that you're looking into, you can see the Seer's body shriveling away.
Can John do anything about this to help?
I mean,
John looks to the guy. This is not normal, correct?
As you say that, a protective seal starts to snap shut over the machine. Roll an insight check, John and Asena.
Did we break it?
16 and a 17. The custodian is surprised and saddened, but not shocked.
Did we just kill one of the Seers?
Did we make it think too hard?
I was going to say, did one of its little blood vessels burst in its psychic brain?
This is not unknown. The question that you've asked has crossed a threshold. You had no way of knowing it. Now listen. A moment more passes, and a voice speaks in your mind.
There is an occlusion in your determinable future. A blind spot. A darkened crossroads. An invisible function with visible inputs and outputs. The Vignar are imperceptible. They operate outside the purview of the horizon. Shadows in the mind's eye. Silhouettes in space and in time. The temporal inputs of this junction are occluded. There are two spatial inputs that exist in superposition. The blind spot indicates the future where you and the Vignar intersect. Spatial Juncture 1 is concealed from us. It became concealed when Jonathan Carmichael changed the Vignar. Its temporal footprint is indicated by the firing of a weapon of incredible power. Spatial Juncture 2 is a range beginning 321 kilometers above the surface of Lacunas.
And the sages fall silent.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Layman translation. There's a blind spot in the future of our question, but there's multiple events that could happen. The Vignar are hard to find, like really hard to find.
Yes.
There's two possibilities of all this that could happen. One possibility was concealed in the moment that John had changed the Vignar due to what had happened with the dragon and the shadow dragon.
Yes.
The other one...
The place was concealed. The
place
physical
was
space where the location is concealed from them, but it became concealed from them at the same time that a weapon of incredible power was fired.
They like went back in time in a way, and like we're looking to see when to follow them, and it's at that point that they became extra difficult to find.
Right, but they know it's like they can see an empty machine, and they can see what goes into it, and they can see what comes out of it, but they can't see what that place is. So there's a place that became hidden from them when you fired the dragon.
Gotcha.
That is one spatial juncture, a place you could go to find the Vignar. The second place is literally anywhere above 321 kilometers of the surface of Lacunas. Meaning you would need to go to space.
John, maybe that means that the lady wife is up there.
Are you suggesting that we get Voski a Vignar bride? That we find a shadow assassin from the ranks of the Vignar?
A lot of problems.
So we find. Let me just run. I'm not against this. Let me just run through your thought experiment. We go there. We make nice with one of the specifically female-oriented Vignar assassins, who has now gone from assassin to watcher. These are basically sentinels of the stars, and convince them not only to give us their awesome armor to save a life, but then to abandon their ways and come be the awesome noble bride of a principality.
It sounds easy peasy to me.
Well, here's one thing to point out there, Matt. The Seers can't see the Vignar. So if a Vignar would make an eligible partner, they wouldn't be able to tell.
So, and here's the thing: as you said that, Asena, John ponders for a moment, and honestly, I've been party to several plans that were madder than this one. So, I think we're going to space. John looks over at Gastone and Hara. You two want to? Are they here, Nate? They're here, right?
Yeah, we'll write them into it. We'll write them into it.
You guys want to go to space?
That feels like a great place to cut this. GG everybody.
No, but seriously though, before we cut, like John's like, is that guy dead or girl? Is that psyker dead or are they like on cooldown now?
No, they're dead.
What?
As you are escorted away from the chamber, solemnly, and like an automated process begins to drain the tank that the seer was floating in, they confide in you. There are certain boundaries to the seer's vision. Boundaries in space and in time. And if ever they look past it, not deliberately, but sometimes when they're following the path of a particular future or a particular question, it leads them beyond those boundaries. And whenever they cross it, they decay and wither and die instantaneously, as if they'd aged 10,000 years.
Mate,
Mm-hmm.
I know that this was... Look, regardless of what was planned, I'd like to try... This sucks. I'd like to try to save this person. Is there anything that we can do to help this doomed psyker?
No, whatever you'd like to try to do, I'd be happy to tell you how it doesn't work. Maybe you can derive some useful information from it.
I have a way, if you'll allow it.
What do you have in mind?
I have a lot of inspiration.
Okay.
And it might secure us an extra question.
Okay.
Possibly more. Depending on if, again, you'll go for this.
All right. You're the one who has to leave in half an hour. I just want to point that out.
No. I know. I'm aware. I'm fully aware. So I have this really cool spell called Through the Veil. I'm not sure if you remember. Let me just drop it in the shots here. When I cast this spell, nope, wrong thing. I'm looking at the wrong one. Hold on. It's the same thing. It's called something different. Where is it? There it is. Sorry, not Through the Veil. Premonitory Vision. When I come out of a short or long rest, I'm able to ask a single question concerning a specific goal, event, or activity to occur within 7 days. Much like saying, hey, when we ask the Seers this question, what is going to happen? And if this whole entire scene was just part of John's premonitory vision, by knowing that we're going to ask this, we get this flash of scenes that John has burned in his memory. We would know, hey, don't ask that question because it's going to kill a psyker. However, we might be able to get from what happened here the answer we need. Thereby, even if I can't convince them, hey, I just saved one of your psychers, give us another question, we would still have our original question because we would have used it through this premonitory vision.
All right, so
I understand that now that this has happened and there's a lot to do, it wouldn't just be, burn an inspiration and it sounds good. I'm sure that this would be a greater act or impossible. I just wanted to point out there that this is a cool thing that John has access to, that this is the kind of situation that he absolutely would want to use that for. So I just wanted to throw that out there and see what you think.
Okay, first off, I'm not going to allow you to use divination to Russian nesting doll another divination. If you're like, I'm going to use this spell to tell me what the result of this more powerful spell would be if I cast it. But man, you're going to make me do a little bit of research here.
I don't have to. It's just, again, I think it's really cool, and I've used this spell.
No, you're getting something from this. You're not getting what you think you're getting from this, but you're getting something from this.
Okay.
All right. What you are getting from this is a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Oh, it was going to be a 17. Could I re-roll that?
You should really re-roll that.
I would like to use a luck point in order to re-roll that, please.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do that.
A 16 feels a lot better.
Okay. Are you satisfied with that? You could spend an inspiration to gain advantage to roll a third die and take the best of the three.
I could also be a not dummy. I'm going to dump a deduction dice and roll an extra d8 and add that to this.
That's better. That's probably better.
A 5. So 21. Yeah, I feel pretty satisfied with that.
Okay. Here's the problem, John.
Uh-oh.
As you ask this question about what's going to happen if you ask this question, whatever that invisible forbidden veil is that the psyker crossed, your question
Am
crossed
I killing
that
him anyway?
same
Oh
boundary.
my god.
No, John, you're not killing him anyways. Whatever that effect is that shriveled him for 10,000 years of instantaneous aging is what you just narrowly avoided.
Oh.
Yes. You crossed
Oh.
the same veil. So
Goody.
as you cast this spell and you send your mind out looking for a premonitory vision of the future, you can see the murky shapes of the floating torus where the Seers dwell. You can see the machines. You can see the vast engine that surrounds them, filled with something that used to be the lifeblood of an entire interstellar empire. And as you follow that thread and you follow the minds of the espers, the psychers, as they pass throughout space and time, you can see them like a million ribbons of light twisting and multiplying upon each other in fractal infinities, looking out across the boundaries of possibility. And several of them are bound and woven together. And my phone goes off and I hang up immediately on it because I thought I muted it because I have a new phone and I don't know how to mute it. As you follow all these twisting paths, one of them strays. It strays past Lacunus, past the more distant planets in that solar system, out to the very boundary, out to the very edges of the territory that was frozen in time for 10,000 years. It stretches in time as well, looking beyond this threshold, and as it does, the sky changes, and it goes dark, and it ripples like a cloud of liquid smoke, and 1,000 compound eyes of growing green lights appear in it, and they gaze upon you, and you see planets moving, and the galaxy shriveling, and stars dying as time wears down upon them, feasting upon their lost years, devouring their very futures, and that eye gazes upon you, and for a moment you can feel your own future being pulled out through you, through your magic, and you cut the connection just in time.
What the hell was that?
The end game, my friend.
Does John know what that is?
Nope.
Is that no? Are you sure?
Roll an Arcana check and get a natural 20.
You kid. You kid. I've done worse in the past, not this time.
You have a 13. Okay, so you don't have to roll a natural 20. If you roll a natural 20, shit will happen. This is extremely obscure. If you can pump this up, you'll get more, but not much more.
I'm going to use a luck dice, and I'm going to use a deduction dice, because this is important and probably the only time that I'm going to be able to... Nope, not more, just one. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to add... Where is my... skill checks? There we go. Deduction dice. And let's try it again. Please. Arcana. Go. Wait, why didn't it re-roll it? Why did it just do... Oh, it did re-roll it. That was even worse.
You just got a 2, that's all. You can spend an inspiration.
I'm going to spend an inspiration.
All right, burn it.
Gosh, what is this life in this world and everything doing to me? Come on.
Remember how you burned all your good rolls earlier?
Yep, I do remember. I remember all that happening. A 19 plus 2!
Okay. Something out there is alive. And it eats time.
Do I have any idea what that could be?
What would you know with a 30?
Does it have anything to do with the flesh of Kerr?
No, it is not.
No.
It's
Okay.
not. The only thing that you could possibly have any indication of this is from distant memories of the forgotten city beneath the waves of
Yitzhak.
Quelia. Not Yitzhak. It's just
Not Yitzhak.
something of a similar bent. a discarded piece of an outcast god, a parasite that feeds on the future, an abomination, a quasi.
Because this was the second best thing I could roll to a natural 20, which is a 19 plus
there is
all of it.
When the Lacunians opened a door 10,000 years ago, they didn't cause a paradox. They woke something up.
Oh, they dug too greedily and too deep.
And it ate 10,000 years.
That's why everything's in stasis.
Mhm.
That's why nothing works anymore.
And it is an elder evil.
Okay. And when John was connected and before he severed it, did he get a name? Did he get a word?
Mm-mm.
Nothing and anything at all.
Nope. Just it saw him for a moment, or it was about. It didn't see him, but it was seeing the future where he looked at it and saw it.
Did Krontaka sense anything?
Krontaka didn't react.
So no fey or fiendish bent. Did the red kiss burn or react or in any way?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay. So John, basically what John knows is that if they ask this question, stuff's going to happen, but he didn't get any information, only that this bad thing was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So John goes into this. So the only change is that John is way more solemn approaching this whole scenario.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't try and then think about high-fiving. He doesn't freak out when the guy dies. He doesn't ask if he can save them. He's just goes into this sad. Doesn't even check with the party, like, hey, what should we ask? He just walks up, and when they ask,
as if it's already happened.
As if it's already happened, and he just waits for it to play out.
All right.
Brutal.
Does anyone want to go to space?
Well,
actually, it's more like, okay, do you guys want to go to space? It's like super depressing.
I like how we had the perfect ending, 10 minutes ago. Who wants to go to space? And then doodly 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 doo roll. But instead, we had to do a major plot drop and an incredibly scary thing and a much more downer ending.
An elder evil, a green elder evil with more eyes than is imaginable, literally eating the time away from an entire empire of star travelers.
Mm-hmm.
And a fractal of its power, a fraction, was able to work its way to Lacunas just by asking the Psychers this one question about the Vignar. So obviously, either Cronepsis, that's the dragon they serve now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cronepsis has to have some kind of connection to this thing then, if that's what triggered it. Okay, good to know.
Talk to the dead guy.
I guess we can ask that later, but I was gonna say, like, what are they doing with the body? We have our ways. Although
that's gonna be so good next time. That's gonna be so good. Oh my god, Potts. That's gonna be so good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and call it here. Next time, Asena talks to a dead guy who just aged 10,000 years. We should have Beatdown back with us so that he can start building ray guns. Asena's going to punch things, and we'll get right back in the flow of things. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. And until next time, take care.